Hello everyone, this is Ayush. The topic for our course project presentation in the course AIFA is path planning using genetic algorithms. The four group members are Ayush, Avni, Vikas and Yashraj. We'll be speaking in the same order in this presentation. So first of all, let's try and understand what path planning problems actually are. So basically, path planning problems involve finding a feasible path from the starting point to the target point. In mobile robotics, path planning is currently one of the most researched subjects. So first of all, you'll be given a starting location, a goal location, and there will be a finite number of static obstacles. Currently, the problem that we've taken will be involved in a 2D map and not a 3D map. Okay, now let's have a look at the common approaches to this problem. Previous research broadly follows two kinds of approaches: model-based and sensor-based. Model-based are a priori models of unknown obstacles that are used to generate a collision-free path. In contrast, the sensor-based approaches aims to detect and avoid unknown obstacles. Two methods that are most common in this problem, that have been most common in this kind of problem, are dynamic programming methods and distance transform methods. Dynamic programming methods are, it's basically like if the start point is, let's say, PS and goal point is PG and the sub goal point is PI. The path generation method is how to determine a sequence of sub goals, picking out the sub goals from their set. We must calculate all possible paths, and selected one has the smallest cost value. Very large computing power is required in the dynamic programming method, and especially in environments that have like many sub goals in the whole distance. And in the distance transform method, the task of path planning is basically finding a path from the goal location back to the start location instead of the opposite. So now let's try and understand why to use genetic algorithms for path planning. First of all, basically genetic algorithms do not require any derivative information, as in the information about the exact location of obstacles and things like that. So initial statements required in genetic algorithms is quite few, and because they are stochastic in nature, they are capable of searching the entire solution space with more likelihood of finding out the global optimum. Another strength of genetic algorithm lies in the cooperative use of different genetic operators like selection, crossover and mutation, about which we'll be learning very soon. Now let's try and understand what actually genetic algorithms are. Basically, genetic algorithms were originally developed by John Holland in 1960s. Genetic algorithms are natural inspired algorithms which are based on the concepts of Darwinian evolution that involve an initialization method, fitness function, to evaluate each chromosome, natural selection, crossover, and mutation operators. These are terms that we'll be understanding more about in just a few minutes. The genetic algorithm usually begins by generating randomly an initial population which represents the possible solutions. Solutions are chromosomes to the problem to be optimized. Each chromosome is then evaluated by an adaptation function to determine the quality of every potential solution. After that, genetic operators are used to create a new progeny. Selection to choose the parents which will be subjected to the reproduction according to their adaptation values. Later, crossover is applied to produce new offsprings by recombining data from the two parents selected in the previous step. Also, mutation is used to guarantee the diversity of the population by changing the genetic structure of some individuals according to a mutation. This whole evolutionary cycle is repeated again and again until the stopping criteria is specified, which can be a number of generations previously fixed otherwise, or the algorithm could be stopped when the population does not evolve quickly enough.
The notion of natural selection. Natural selection begins with the selection of the fittest individuals from a population. They have kids who inherit the qualities of their parents and are passed on to the next generation. If parents are more fit, their children will be fitter than their parents and have a great chance of survival. This procedure is repeated until a generation of fittest individuals is discovered. This concept can be used to solve a search challenge. We analyze a set of solutions to a problem and choose the finest ones from among them. Natural selection in genetic algorithms. First of all, a community of randomized individual is taken, which is called a population. The whole population is a generation. Everyone in the population has their fitness measured through a fitness function. Now, depending on their fitness scores, the probability of them being chosen as a parent for new generation is decided. That is, higher fitness score results in higher chance of being a parent for next generation. This way, every new generation is more suitable for the environment and is fitter than the previous generation. Genetic algorithm. Population. It is a subset of all feasible solutions to a given issue. Chromosomes. A chromosome is one such solution to the situation at hand. A gene is a single element location on a chromosome. It is the value that a gene has from a specific chromosome. Genotype. The population in the computing space is known as a genotype. A fitness function is simply described as a function that takes the solution as input and produces the solution's appropriateness as output. Genetic operators, these change the genetic makeup of the progeny. These include crossover, mutation, and selection, among others. Problem formulation. If the 2D map has n through points, the space of all feasible solution is enormous. A robot C space is the space of all configuration of the robot's path. The robot planning problem is analogous to the motion planning of a point robot in a C space. The collision-free C space is the location of all points in the C space that reflect viable and collision-free configuration. That is, an optimum approach must be practicable. In general, three distinct optimization targets may be created to discover a collision-free optimum path. First one, reduce the distance traveled, that is shortest path. Second, maintain a steady trajectory. And third one, meet the clearance criteria. That is, the robot should not approach the barriers too nearer. As we can see in this figure, there are different paths to reach goal from start. Path 1, which is not feasible, obstacle collision is there. In path 2, it's the shortest distance and seems feasible. Path 3 is feasible and more safer, but farthest from obstacles. And in path 4 is feasible but not met the optimal criteria. In the static optimum issues, these objectives might be weighted with different variables based on their relevance. In our slides, we will apply a genetic algorithm to identify the collision-free shortest path between the starting point and the destination point.
Hello everyone, my name is Vikas Vijayakumar Bastewar. I will be elaborating on the solution to the optimal path planning problem. A genetic algorithm is used to find the optimal paths for a robot to move in a static environment expressed by a map with nodes and links. In the proposed algorithm, any path from the starting point to the goal is a solution. At the beginning, a random population of string is generated which represents admissible or unadmissible solutions. Admissible solutions are the strings that can reach the target, and unadmissible solutions are the strings that cannot reach the target. That means the string solution would lead the robot to move in the collision with the obstacles. The workspace map for the robot looks like the figure alongside. It is a 2D area having obstacles and via points. The robot has a starting point and a goal point on the map under the assumption that in a path planning, the robot passes each point only once or not at all. Each node has a number as shown in the figure, and the nodes are used to encode a path as a string. For example, 0 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 9, 9 to 15 is a path with start node 0 and the goal node 15. Using genetic algorithm, via points are selected randomly at first, while adjacent points must be connected with the link on the map. A path of a mobile robot is encoded using binary numbers, where each gene in a chromosome is encoded by 4-bit binary, as shown in the table alongside. A chromosome corresponds to a possible solution of the optimization problem. Thus, each chromosome represents a path which consists of straight line segments as the sequence of nodes, with the first node indicating the starting point of the first segment, followed by intermediate nodes, that is via points, between segments, and the last node indicating the ending point of the last segment, which is the goal. The evaluation function of a chromosome measures the objective cost function. To evaluate the quality of each potential solution, a fitness function is used. Here the fitness function uses the distance of path indicated by the chromosome. It is inversely proportional to the segment length between the points. In the proposed algorithm, the common two genetic operators, crossover and mutation, are used. Crossover recombines two parent paths to produce two children new paths in the next generation. For example, given two parent chromosomes, we will apply crossover, let's say at bit position 15 to 23. Then children produced from them will have the bits 15 to 23 interchanged. The mutation process is also applied to flip randomly a bit position in the chromosome. This is the pseudocode of the proposed algorithm. The process starts with the initialization of the start and the goal points and generating the initial population randomly using the via points in each chromosome. Then there is a sequence of operations which are performed on the current population, namely evaluation, ranking the population using the fitness value, eliminating the lowest fitness chromosomes, duplicating the highest fitness chromosomes. After this is done, genetic operations, crossover and mutation is carried out and new population is generated. This sequence of operations is performed until the convergence condition is satisfied. When this is achieved, we output the best individual found, that is the optimal path.
Hello everyone, my name is Yashraj Singh. Now I am going to elaborate upon the code which we have written. First, we have imported all the necessary libraries for our project. Then we have created class myPoint which stores any point on the 2D plane we tried to depict. Then we have class myLineString which stores a line. Then a class obstacle which stores all the obstacles on the 2D plane. Moving on, we have a class robot which depicts the mobile robot in our simulation, and it has associated functions with it to update its turning point and its path. Moving on, we have class genetic algorithm. It has class chromosome inside of it, which has different functions of crossover and mutate and a structure to initialize it, and many other functions. Then we have a class result, and it is used to draw the path in the GUI we have created. Now I'm going to run this app. So let us start with a random set of obstacles. This is our obstacle plane. Let's set the endpoint to 20, 10 and have 1 iteration. So we found this path. We see that it crosses multiple obstacles. So moving on, we increase the number of iterations and make it 20. Now we have a path which crosses only a single obstacle in the starting. And when we increase our number of iterations to say about 150, which is quite a huge number, we would get a about perfect path. And here we at last have a path which doesn't collide with any obstacle and is the shortest optimal path, which is derived at 150 number of iterations. Moving on to the conclusion. Concluding the solution of the path planning problem, in which we have a start and end point on a 2D plane along with obstacles, we have discussed a way in which we use genetic algorithm to reach the most optimal path possible. For this, we have developed a simple genetic algorithm which has fixed chromosome length. The algorithm we developed uses an efficient coding scheme with fixed length binary string. The chromosome length in our approach depends upon number of obstacles on the static 2D plane. If there are n obstacles, there will be n plus 2 genes. That is, the chromosome length will be n plus 2. This is how we have used genetic algorithm to give probabilistic solution to the optimization problem above. This algorithm requires less computation with respect to other recently coded algorithms to solve the same problem. We could also expand this problem when the environment of the mobile robot is dynamic instead of static as it is now. In that case, the number of genes, or in other words, the chromosome length, will be variable. This code can also be expanded upon to use a multi-objective criteria in future so that it could handle both static and dynamic environments and produce more smooth paths with respect to the paths that are outputted in the demo given earlier. Genetic algorithms are also used in many different areas of computer science. This problem was just a single problem out of the many problems that can be solved using genetic algorithms in a much more efficient manner than they are solved now using conventional methods. One main use of genetic algorithm is in machine learning, which we have tried to depict in our problem. Other areas where genetic algorithms are used are image processing. In this, genetic algorithms is used mainly in segmentation of images. Vehicle routing problem. It is different from our problem because there can be a fleet of vehicles which have to visit numerous points and many other constraints along with it. Optimization problems. Here, genetic algorithm is used when we have to maximize or reduce a given objective function. Economics. Here it is used to describe various financial systems such as cobweb system, asset pricing, and many more. Neural networks. Genetic algorithm is also used in neural networks to serve recursive neural networks. Genetic algorithm is used to produce high quality alternatives for computation and problem finding by using bio-inspired operations such as mutation. Parallelization. It is used in parallelization as it has very good simultaneous functionalities and has proved to be a very useful way to solve such problems. Other uses include scheduling applications, robotics formation, bioinformatics, multimodal optimization, aircraft parametric architecture, and many more. Thank you.